starting with this road tape, I think this is one big change which has been made by the government on the eve of 31st December. So they kind of launched this scheme immediately from 1st of January with an immediate effect. The relevant orders were issued, the relevant changes in the ice skate were made, and immediately on 1st of January, as a New Year gift, this scheme was being launched. So just a quick background about the existing incentive scheme and how this scheme is going to impact the other exporter. So we have a foreign trade policy which is applicable from 2015 to 2020 as of now. This FTP was extended till March 2021. Under this FTP, we have two popular schemes. First is the SEIS scheme. This scheme provides incentives to service exporter. As of now, for 18-19, everything has been in order. For the financial year 19-20, the claims are available, but the government has not notified the category of services and rate. So there is a big question mark on the eligible services and rate for 19-20. Moving a year forward for 2021, what is the fate of this SEIS? Will this continue? If yes, what would be the rate? Will government think of making some retrospective amendment, etc.? Is something which is very unclear. In parallel, we had this MAIS scheme. This was applicable till 31st of December 2020. From 1st of January, this scheme has been replaced by RoDTEP. In the interim, what government has stated in the calendar year 2021, they have introduced a cap on MEIS benefit in September 2020. They've said that for per IC holder, the overall incentive would be kept at 2 crore rupee. They have also given an overall budget of this MEIS scheme to be 50,000 crore. Now, what has happened because they have made this restriction for the period starting from October to December, and exporter already had factored this incentive in their export order on account of the fact that government made a promise that this scheme will continue. So a lot of big exporter has challenged this capping by the government in the Delhi and Gujarat High Court. They have taken various grounds in this writ petitions, which includes ground of promissory estoppel, that you made a promise, now you are getting withdrawal from your promise. Legitimate expectation, this is something which was expected now being withdrawn. Third, retrospectively, most importantly, the change which government wanted to introduce, if not prospective, this has kind of come with a retrospective impact. And lastly, this is discriminative. Government is making a point that it will only impact 2% of the exporter, rest 98% of the exporter will continue to get this incentive. Interestingly, these 2% forms the major chunk of big exporter who are bringing a lot of foreign exchange for India. So to our mind, this is completely discrimination against the Constitution of India. So they have been challenging this MAIS amendments on this ground. Now, one important point which we wanted to make is, suppose there is a favorable order tomorrow from the Delhi or Gujarat High Court, then this will not become the law. This order would only be beneficial to the taxpayer who have, or to the exporters who have filed this writ petition. Now this window is open. If you are also one of the exporter who has been hardly hit by this retrospective amendment by the government on MEIS scheme, then we would encourage you to file a writ petition in your respective high court. You can take these pointers and also come up with other grounds to file a writ petition before your respective high courts. Moving further, from 1st of January, they have introduced a new scheme, which is RoDTEP. If I just elaborate this, it stands for Remission of Duty and Taxes Incurred on Export Products. The fundamental background of this scheme is that export has to be tax free. So whatever cost that is being embedded in the manufacturing process of export goods, government intend to compensate you for this. To give you an example, if you are availing a services of road transport agency, then this road transport uses diesel as one of uh, the fuel for transportation of goods. Now, this diesel, we know that it attracts excise duty and VAT. So this is a non-creditable tax in the hand of your service provider. So effectively, it increases the price of its services, which gets embedded in your manufacturing cost. Similarly, you may also have a lot of expenses on which credit may not be available, like restricted expenses under Section 17(5), or you may be paying a lot of license fees, other fees to central government or state government, for which credit is not admissible under GST. So all in all, there are incurring of taxes at your level, increase of taxes at service provider level or the supplier level. Whatever is the embedded cost, the purpose of this scheme is to compensate you for this. Now, how this scheme will work, like I said, it targets to give you a reimbursement of all the non-creditable taxes. When we are talking about non-creditable taxes, it applies to you and it also applies to the first leg of your supplier, be it a service provider or a goods provider. This benefit is given as a percentage of FOB value of export goods. This would be similar to SEIS MES. This would be given in the form of scripts in your electronic credit ledger. We would be discussing the process in brief in upcoming slide. Important to note that this incentive is over and above the existing duty drawback which you are claiming on export products. So from 1st of January, if you are eligible, then you will get both duty drawback and you will get this incentive of RoDTEP as well. This scheme you would be able to use against payment of customs duty on imported goods. Also, these would be a freely transferable script. So in case you do not have any import, you can sell this script to market. This actually effectively becomes a cash to you in your business. Rates of this scheme is yet to be notified. Government initially announced that there would be a phased manner rollout of this scheme. They asked three priority sector to submit the data points of non-creditable taxes. So they notified a form. They asked manufacturers, both small, medium, and large manufacturers, to submit a data computation in which they wanted them to give a scientific data backed by their trial balance and chartered accountant certificate that this is the embedded tax code at their leg and their service provider leg. So based on those computations, government is supposed to bring up these rates. Uh, they demanded data for three sector with the intention that they will roll out this scheme for three sector initially. But what has happened, they have rolled this scheme for all the sectors, and wherever they only have data for three sectors. So what now they have asked is they have asked all the exporter who would be availing this scheme to submit data of this non-creditable taxes in requisite format to them. So based on this data, they will take up the rate finalization exercise and notify. Whatever rate will come, that will be effective from 1st of January on your exports. They have immediately made changes in iSkate. They have asked exporters to make certain notified declarations in their shipping bill, whosoever wants to avail the incentive under this scheme. Now, interestingly, what has happened, they have kind of created this scheme to be mutually exclusive of advance authorization and EPCG license holder. So if you will simply compare today, if you are getting a MEIS benefit, then you can simultaneously claim benefit of advanced license and EPCG. But under this new scheme, they have disallowed this benefit. They have said either you claim this new scheme or you take incentive under advanced license or EPCG. They have also made corresponding amendments at the ICS portal. So if you are filing a shipping bill, it will only permit you to choose advanced license EPCG or it will permit you to choose this RoDTEP. Since we will discuss that this has been announced via this press releases, etc., they have not notified the formal notification. So our advice to all this sector advanced license EPCG holder is that they should uh, select RoDTEP as a criteria in their shipping bill. They should give a remark that they are also claiming this advanced authorization benefit till the time there is a formal notification permitting or disallowing this benefit. And they should also file a declaration with their customs authority that this is the tax position which they are taking on their exports. Um, Also, two important sectors which are export-oriented unit and SEZ, they have been consciously kept out of this. So they have made a specific declarations for EOU, but they have not said anything on SEZ. But you can get a flavor that intentionally they have kept EOU and likely SEZ to be out of this incentive scheme, which is again completely irrational on their part. Um, they have also given powers to the customs authority to suspend this script, uh, which time will tell how rationally this power can be exercised by them. Moving to the procedure, how you can get this script. Procedure is very simple. You have to make requisite declarations in your shipping bill. This will be generated into EGM, which will go to customs authority for processing. There could be a random check or no check, and based on the processing, there would be a generation of credits in your electronic credit ledger. This credit has to be converted into script in your RoDTEP credit ledger. Once the script is being generated, you would be permitted to use it against your upcoming imports, or you can sell this script electronically via this portal. So all in all, it is a complete transparent process in generation of scripts with little or minimal human intervention. The only point which needs to be taken care is how the rates are being notified and how the sectors are being impacted out of this script. They also permitted clubbing of multiple shipping bills at one port. Now let us see what are the key issues as of now in relation to this new scheme. Like we discussed, there is no statutory backing as of now. They have only issued press release and advisory relatable to this new scheme. Second, they sought data only for chapter 86, 88, and 89, which reasonably they got. For all the exporter where the product is classifiable under chapter other than 86, 88, and 89, the window is still open. We would encourage them to file requisite data to the government so that a scientific rate of incentive could be notified. You should look at this exercise in this manner that this rate is going to be a regular income for your export products. We have an experience where rates are generally not being tweaked for a period of 4 to 5 years. So your effort today is going to give a scientific rate which would be valid for at least 4 5 years on your exports. Uh, Time frame government is not has not given any limitation. We can reasonably take a period of 1 month, 1.5 months that they will at least take to notify this rate. So we have this window to submit our data points to them. There are few open questions. A, what will happen to the utilization process of SEIS, MEIs in this transitional period? Ideally, they should have come up with clarification, but pending such clarification, we can safely assume that the existing processes will follow. Uh, Restriction of this benefit is completely irrational. So these sectors and these license holder immediately needs to make representation to the government that it is taking away of their right, which was again given by them in the earlier policy. We have seen same fate in the post-export advanced license issue, where they kind of curtailed this right, which was not taken care. The issue went to high courts in different writ petitions, and later government completely made a U-turn and agreed to give this incentive from July. So we have this precedent. So we encourage you to file this representation to avoid unnecessary litigations in terms of rate and then asking them to take a U-turn on this. Uh, Importantly, since we don't have any rate, so it is very difficult to fix export price as of now, pending this incentive rate. So what we should do on this present script A, we should immediately assess the immediate tax cost and file this data point with the committee. Second, we should also file representations with the government on following issues. A, to get clarity on the rates, they should come up with this rate immediately so that export prices can be fixed rationally. They should also provide clarification on the issues which we have discussed in preceding slide.